Boatbuilding News, the podcast. Let's do it. Welcome to Boatbuilding News, the podcast, a series of engaging interviews with key individuals from within the marine industry. I'm excited. This is going to be epic. Michael Köhler from Silent Yachts isn't just somebody on a journey striving for more sustainable solutions in yachting. He started the idea right back at the beginning. Have a listen to this. Hi, Michael. I really appreciate you coming to speak to me at the Boatbuilding News podcast, especially when I know that you're in the most incredible place at the moment. So to take an hour of your time out to speak to me, I really, really appreciate it. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Holly. It's a pleasure for me to be in your show.
Perfect. So, I've been doing a little bit of research about Silent Yachts, but it would be great for you to tell us in your own words, who are you and what is your role within Silent Yachts?
Okay. My name is Michael Köhler. I'm Austrian. My role in Silent Yachts is I'm the CEO and owner and founder of the company. And Silent Yachts is a company that is since about 14 years producing solar-powered electrical catamarans. That means we've built boats, two hulls, and they get the power primarily from the sun. The energy is being stored in the batteries, and from this power we supply all the household appliances as well as the electric motors, the drivetrain that propel the boat. And this is pretty unique because we were the first and are still, let's say, almost the only producer in the world that really builds solar-powered electrical boats.
Awesome. It sounds amazing. And, it surprises me when you say that it started 14 years ago, because I believe, that 14 years ago, that wasn't on the, sustainability, solar power, and those kind of thoughts weren't actually at the forefront of most people's minds. So, I'd love to hear how it all started, but also I think it's really important to ask, why did you think about doing this 14 years ago, when it seemed to be way before it entered anybody else's minds?
Yeah, firstly, because it did not exist. And usually new developments come up because of a certain need or of a demand for that. At that time in the 90s, actually, we started investigating and developing. And in the 90s, the cell phones, digital cameras, digital video and photo cameras at that time separately. You're too young for that.
I remember
we had a lot of toys to carry around and especially to recharge. Yeah. And on the boat, it was only possible if you run the generator, which is pretty absurd to start a big 4 or 6 cylinder generator to recharge a cell phone. And because of this need, I think I was one of the very first people in the world that got an inverter built because it was not available at that time. That means a machine that transforms 12 or 24 volt battery power to 230 volt AC power. Yeah. Yeah. And it simply did not exist. And I got a very incredibly basic box, a very, very simple metal box with one lamp and one plug and one switch, period, not more. With this, we supplied even a hair dryer, fridge, at that time already a small cooktop, electrically on the boat without running the generator. But of course, we could recharge computer, phones, and everything. This was unique. Everybody else was forced either to go to a marina, to a restaurant, or to start a generator. And this was more or less the start because I understood the electrical system on a boat did not follow up with the needs of the people. And the people needed more power, but the boat simply did not supply. They had 12 volt plugs and that's it. And so I wrote a book about energy supply on yachts. and I gave lectures, about 150, about this topic.
Really?
And we transformed several boats from the normal electrical system to a solar powered system that supplies 24/7 electrical power, at, of course, for lower loads, smaller loads, but 24/7 out of the battery. And this was absolutely unique at that time in the early 2000s. And in 2005, we built our first testing boat. We crossed the Atlantic Ocean with that. We had all kinds of displays and sensors on the boat in order to measure how much power we are getting from the sun and from the wind. And we calculated if it would be possible to run a boat entirely on solar power. That means all household appliances, including the drivetrain. Wow. Actually, after a couple of months, we knew the result already, but we still stayed about 4 years in the Caribbean and to find it out a little bit more thoroughly.
I think that sounds like a really good business idea. I think I might go 4 years in the Caribbean to think about something as well.
Actually, we were working, So, in the end, in 2009, we started to build our first boat, which was absolutely entirely solar powered. And we did not use the generator that was on board for 3 years. So we built the boat, went on it from Germany on the rivers down to the Black Sea, which is now famous and well known because this is the sea on which the Krim Peninsula is located. We went to there and then to the Aegean and to the Med. And this was a long cruise without using the generator, only powered by the sun. And we spent another 3 years entirely solar powered with charter guests in Greece. More than 100 weeks charter in total without using the generator. Wow. And this was more than a proof of concept that it works.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, I mean, rewinding just a little bit. So right at the beginning, when you first thought about a solution to this problem that you had, which for me, it blows my mind because I think that we just take it for granted that when we want to charge our phone, we just plug it in, and actually reminding ourselves that right back at the beginning, that actually, someone had to be the first person to make that so accessible on a yacht. But interestingly, did you think, hey, this is an idea, this is a concept that I'm going to turn into a business? Or did it initially start as I've got a problem on my boat and I'm looking for a solution for myself personally? Or was it always going to transpire into I want to create a solution for the industry?
Actually, of course, I had always a little bit of a business in mind. But never, ever I had in mind to change a whole industry and to be the spark, the ignition for a completely new development. Because this was 15 years before and more before Tesla even started. So nobody thought about that at that time. I only wanted the solution for myself, and other people thought, great, this guy found a solution. I want to have the same. Because of course I shared my happiness. And we, for example, to give you one idea, when we were sailing in Greece, there were lots of anchorages, villages with town piers without electricity. And we simply put an electrical hub, as supply sockets on the pier from our boat. We put it on the pier and invited our neighbors to plug in.
Wow.
Because we had more power than we could use because the solar panels were charging, the batteries were usually full. So we invited other people to plug in their boat and to recharge them from our boat.
I bet you're the most popular person there.
Of course. And this is why the people joined us and why they said, want to have, please, can I have this on my boat as well? And so that's the way how we spread the news, by simply putting this rollable hubs, the round ones. We just put it on the pier, and that's it. And it worked. The people loved it. We have, believe me, many dozens of photos documenting this, and so this was the start of the success, because the people understand, great, that's obviously the solution. They have power, I have none. I have to run my normal propulsion engine with a stupid small alternator to run the fridge and to get some power for hours, which is unbelievably ineffective and a real waste of energy. And on the other hand, there is someone who is not running his generator and even gives the power to other boats, even though he's running his air conditioning.
Yeah, when you look back on it, such a pivotal moment for the sustainability of the yachting sector, though. Do you know what I mean? I mean, such a light bulb moment that potentially, when you look back, could have been the change of direction and, what inspired many other builders that we see now, looking at solar power and electricity and things like that.
Yeah, it was exactly as you said. We were and are still very humble people. We, at that moment, we did not understand what is happening, and this was really like you called it, such a, how do you call it,
light bulb moment.
Light bulb moment, yeah.
Nice
so it was really, I'm not a native speaker, but we used a similar word in German.
Right.
So it was definitely a light bulb moment, and we understood actually many years later what was happening, and this was going to start a new movement. In the end, until very short time ago, actually, when we discussed it with people, especially when we heard the feedback from our clients, what other producers are speaking about our brand, our efforts, our technology. Nobody was so convinced from our competition, from the other boat builders, because they thought it's nobody needs it because we have generators. Yeah, it's a nice niche. Yeah, you always called us a niche product. I think that this niche will become the main market.
Well, this is the thing. The world is waking up to this now. We are on a limited. I mean, if you look at the automotive sector, just speaking from myself personally, I've been looking around to buy a new car, and maybe even just 2 years ago, I wouldn't have even considered an electric car. But now it seems that actually that's got to be the first and foremost to almost future-proof your purchase. And okay, from what I see, maybe the yachting sector and the boating sector is a little bit behind the automotive sector. But this is now probably one of the main considerations when somebody is purchasing their next boat.
Yes. You expressed it in the perfect way. The boating is a little bit behind because boaters are usually very, very conservative. Yeah. So a boat without a mast is not a boat. It's not like this. And
the controversial opinion that.
Yeah. So this is usually what boaters think, and inside it needs to be mahogany, otherwise it's not a boat. They're very, very stuck in history, but I think this is definitely changing now.
100%.
Incredible echo on what we are doing. The people understand it. They want to have it as well. Some don't even still don't believe it. If they are on a boat, they only shake their head and can say only say, unbelievable. I would have never expected to be like that.
No.
The motors are incredibly powerful because of the high torque. Everybody who ever drove a bigger electric car, not the smallest ones, but the bigger one, understands the unbelievable torque of an electric car.
Well, it's instant power as soon as you put your foot down, isn't it? It's instant.
The acceleration is amazing, and the same is on the boat. So we have an incredible amount of power available, because people always ask us, with the electric motors, what are you doing if there is more headwind, 20 knots headwind? I usually tell them, we have less of a problem than any other boat, because we can adjust the torque and the speed much better than a fuel-based engine, because they cannot go slowly. We can go slowly, and we can also go fast. So it's much more versatile, the electric propulsion. You see it on a car. It's much better. It's superior, definitely superior to any other. Still, we have a combustion engine on each of our boats.
This is what I was going to ask you. Yeah, I mean, how reliable is it? Do you still carry that backup?
It's not a question of reliability. It's way more reliable than a combustion engine. Yesterday, while walking through Monaco, because we're here at the boat fair now, I was seeing a man with a scooter trying to start his scooter, and it did not start. Nice. Smiling, I said, this wouldn't have happened with an electric scooter.
You're probably right there.
So this is the thing. Most common problem on a diesel engine is fuel problem, and this is something that cannot happen on an electric motor. They are much more reliable, have a much longer lifespan. So our motors we give a lifelong warranty on the electric motors. Is there any producer of internal combustion engines out there that is giving a lifelong warranty for his engines? We do. So,
well, they just wouldn't be able to, would they? It wouldn't be commercially viable for them, because they don't last for a lifetime.
Exactly. They don't last for life. They last, depending on the usage, 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 years, but at a certain time, it doesn't make sense to repair them anymore. So long story short, electrical engines are way more reliable and longer lasting than any internal combustion engine, and of course than any sail, because a sail does also not last forever. The wind is for free, but not the rig. The rig is not for free. And so we have a generator on board for the simple reason it could happen, and it will happen, that you have bad weather for a longer period of time, for more than a couple of days. And it also will happen that you want to go fast for a longer period of time. Only on the battery and on solar, you still can go 20 knots. It works.
Yep.
But honestly, for a short period of time. We're talking about between a couple of minutes and half an hour or 1 hour, depending on the setup, depending on the model of the boat, of the configuration. But at a certain point, the battery will be empty if you go fast for a longer period of time. And for that moment, we have the generator. It would kick in and recharge the batteries so that you can continue at a higher speed for an even much longer period of time, 100, 200, 300 hours. So for several days. And this was the goal, to combine the amenities and the advantages of a sailing boat, meaning the silent energy coming from the nature, like on a sailing boat, with the speed and the comfort of a motorboat. But primarily and most of the time, we are like a sailing boat, also the speed of a sailing boat, but still we can go faster if we want to. If we want to show our neighbor, for example. But on the other hand, we can go fast when we simply start a generator and we are independent from wind and from the sun.
But doesn't that just show you that some of this is actually an education of the industry and, changing people's perception? That my instant, reaction and question was to question the reliability of it. And I think that there's a movement at the moment where, builders like yourself and companies like yourselves, are having to work quite hard against that perception that it's not reliable, when in actual fact, when people are educated in the technology of it, they understand that it absolutely is as reliable, if not more reliable than the traditional.
Look, you're absolutely right. Look, I own a Tesla since 4 years. And And in order not to get or to give you the wrong impression, I'm not really a Tesla fan, because there are other cars as well that are very good electric cars. But I have a Tesla.
Yeah.
I have not been in a garage, in a service since that. There is nothing I could exchange. The brake. I don't know what's the word. The brakes are still like new, because I hardly use them, and there is no need for any repair. Yeah, and I think this is a clear sign of the reliability of this technology. The same is with our boats. We have never had any hardware problems. If there are any software bugs, which could happen, like on any phone, telephone, cell phone, or on a computer, that can be done remotely over the air. You simply connect your boat to Wi-Fi. This is foreseen on each of our boats. And we can enter the system remotely, put a new software on the boat, and the software bug, if any, is history. So this is the future. No 100%. Mechanical repairs anymore, because the hardware will last for decades.
Wow.
And software can be done over the air.
Yeah, no, completely. So this might seem a bit of a strange question, and it might even be something that you're uncomfortable to answer, but what's the downside then? What's the disadvantage? What's the reason not to buy one of your boats?
Okay. The only reason I can imagine is that somebody does not like the design, or simply wants to have a sail for optical reasons. Optical reasons. Yeah. But I cannot imagine any other, because I think our boats are more practically handy, more closer to the user, better to use than any other boats, because my wife and I sailed for decades on our own boats, and we are not really boat builders. We employ boat builders, yeah, but we are the people that had the idea and had the experience how a boat has to look like. Usually designers, they have studied, they have a strong technical background, and those engineers, but they have never lived on a boat of that size. How should they? Yeah, because they earn, I don't know, 3,000 euros, and the charter week costs 30,000 euros of a boat of that size. So they need to save money for a couple of years to spend 1 week on such a boat. And that's the simple reason why many designers and engineers are simply building boats that are far away from the needs of an average user, especially of a long-term sailor, somebody that wants to live on the boat.
Which is increasing, isn't it? People are spending more time on their boats. People are, I was talking to someone in a previous episode where they said, people are buying boats before they're buying houses. The way people live and in using the boats is just changing.
Yesterday evening, I was walking through town with our partner, Coşkun Bayraktar from our Turkish production facility. He's the owner, and he said, looking up at the houses in Monaco and how crowded they are and how tight they are standing.
Yeah.
He said, how lucky are we? We're living on the boat. We have all these amenities of such a town. We can walk in and sit in front of the casino and in the Café de Paris. We have all the amenities, but we're living on the boat. And if we want to change place, we simply go to the next bay or the next marina or next country. So a boat is much more convenient and versatile compared to a house or an apartment. And this is the truth. The people rather buy a boat now than a house, because it makes them more versatile, more flexible. And I think, that's the trend. And if you need a house on the water, of course you expect the same amenities than you have in your house on the land. You ask me about the drawbacks. Back to your question. I said the design could be something that somebody does not like.
Yeah, I mean, it's personal preference, things like that, isn't it? Everyone's got personal tastes,
Absolutely. Honestly, and I think this is really a matter of fact. Our boats combine the advantages of a sailboat without having the drawbacks of a sailboat, because you have a lot of hassle with the sail, with the rig, with the ropes. You hit your toes when walking on the side deck because all the stuff, the rails, the stuff that is mounted there. We don't have the drawbacks. We have only the advantages. Same with the motorboat. We have the advantages of the motorboat regarding space, comfort, speed. We do not have the disadvantage of the motorboat, which is fuel consumption, noise, exhausts polluting the environment, and vibrations, oil film on the water. No, we don't. So this is my I'm really convinced of what I'm saying, because this is what I hear from our customers every day, and what I feel every day. We have the advantages of both groups, of both classes of boats, but I do not see any of their advantages, because we are any of their drawbacks. We only combine the advantages.
Yeah, I mean, when you word it like that, when I think about it logically, it's mad that anyone would go any other way when they're why would anyone not buy one of your boats? It's madness. Do you know what I mean? You've put it so logically. There's no argument apart from personal preference, which, we're all human beings, that is a thing. But, this doesn't make any logical sense, does it?
Exactly. Yeah. So just to give you one example, because also people always ask, okay, when are you running your generator? At a certain point you run it. Yes, but never in a bay. Why should we? So we run the generator only when we are cruising, and we know that we are cruising today for a longer period of time or longer distance. And we are in a hurry. That means we want to arrive for whatever reason. Maybe we have an appointment for dinner, or weather is getting bad. So we want to go a little bit faster. And then we know maybe the battery won't be enough. Then we start the generator in time. And we definitely, you're invited to come to our boat and to listen. You definitely cannot hear the generator while we are cruising, because the noise of the water and of the wind is higher than the noise of the generator. So we only started when we have more or bigger need for energy, and we stop it when the batteries are full and cruise the rest of the leg, of the distance to the next marina, port, or bay electrically, and it works. It works. So it is the consumption that we have is ridiculous. To give an example, the typical charter week is about 120, maybe 150 miles, and in 7 days. And we usually consume about 50 liters during this week, assuming that we have, or usually we have guests from United States or people that need air conditioning. So the aircon is, Europeans are a little bit different. So we run the air conditioning usually 24/7. Not always, of course, not always full power. But during a week, we consume about 50 liters of diesel on average for everything, including cooking, cooling, freezing, aircon, driving the boat especially, and for all other consumers on the boat. Show me one boat, one sailing boat in the world that can do that with high-class charter, where the people need a lot of water. We produce the water ourselves. We heat the water with electricity. So there is no other power source, and we don't go to a marina. Show me any other boat that can do this with 50 liters of diesel per week on average.
Well, there just isn't, is there? You and I both know that there absolutely just isn't. It is, you're a pioneer in this space, and that's what's so exciting, is the fact that we've talked a lot about how you were the first person to do that, certain things, But if you're naturally a pioneer and you're always wanting to be the first, being the number one and being the best, what's exciting is what's next up your sleeve.
Many projects, unbelievable ideas. We started with the, let's say, the mid-size, 60 to 80 foot. It's not mega yacht. 80 is already super yacht range, because this is inside the volume of about 30, 35, maybe up to 40 meter yacht, depending on the design. So this is already in the middle of the super yacht range. And we have a one, and then we designed even a 120, which is already under production. And the Silent 120 Explorer is definitely in the mega yacht range, because it has 500 gross tons, which is usually boats above 50 meter, monohulls above 50 meter.
Yeah.
This boat has 4 levels, 4 decks, and it's really massive. It's a huge boat. And we are now entering the smaller range. We started with a 4 meter electrical tender. We now developed 8 meter 50, 28 feet chase boat. The name is Silent Speed 28, and this boat has an top speed of unbelievable 60 knots, electrically powered. And this is really, really pretty quick. There are only a few boats in Europe, at least, that go that fast, and especially tenders. It's a very unusual speed for a tender, and so we're very proud of this development. And we want to build more boats in this range below 50 feet. So we are already developing and working on a 42 with cabin, and on a 43 absolute racing boat. This will be incredibly fast, much faster than 60 knots, much faster. So we have many more projects already, more than under development. More means we already have the molds, or we already have the boats, and we are already testing. So you're not
even slightly slowing down, are you? You're not just looking back and thinking, hey, look, I've made something really cool. I've developed a great concept. I've changed the direction of the marine industry, but you're just still going at the same pace. You're still trying to evolve.
Very simple reason for that. We are still very humble guys, absolutely. But I think we should electrify all kinds of boats. I think it would be wrong to restrict ourselves to only a small piece of the cake.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because what is the reason why shouldn't a mega yacht of 150 or 180 feet? And I did not say that we are developing one already, but we do.
You heard it here first.
So we're working on a much bigger one already.
Wow.
We have wonderful renderings already. We're working on the engineering. And
amazing.
So I think there is no reason why we should restrict ourselves to only a small range. I think everybody deserves to get the amenities, or to be able to have the amenities of this unbelievable comfort. That whenever you want, 24/7 power is coming out of the power plugs in the boat, and when you leave the bay, you do it silently. And this is so unbelievable, you cannot imagine. We were on the sea trials 2 days ago with guests that have never before been on a boat like this. And they simply were standing on the boat, searching for words, searching for expressions. They only shook their heads and said, I have never experienced something like this. The boat simply, as if it were drifting, away from the pier. But of course, there was a lot of power, and we immediately showed them how much power. And it is unbelievable for the people to see. There is no vibration, absolutely no noise. And the boat is moving and has an incredible torque and can accelerate in a way that really the glasses fall from the table.
And what makes me laugh is that they were so surprised by this, but they'd come for a sea trial with a company called Silent Yachts, and it's almost as if they thought that was just a name because it sounded great. But you are actually silent, you know, and they were surprised by that.
I think nobody can imagine. Even if you're sitting the first time in a Tesla and you feel the acceleration, nobody could imagine such a power before having experienced it. I think.
Yeah, and so quiet. You know, it's so much power from something so smooth and quiet. You know, it doesn't compute in our head. You know, it's hard to process, isn't it?
Absolutely correct, because we have in our head that if something gives a lot of power, it needs to be noisy. Yeah.
Yes, I know, that's so true.
Big trucks, powerful.
Well, it's all we know, isn't it? We're conditioned to think like that, and that's the thing. It's changing. It's ultimately changing how people think because it's all we've ever known.
Yes, because powerful means noisy. The real He-Man has to disassemble his exhaust system to be noisy. Yeah, everybody should hear that because power must be heard, and this is still the mindset of many people, but the mindset is changing, and the people find it sexy that they can go silently and still have a lot of power. By the way, it's sexy. I think you know why Tesla chooses the model names. The Model S, the Model E was not allowed because of Jaguar, so it's the Model 3. Really? They just turned it around. The E. Right. Then it's the Model X and the Model Y.
Is that actually true?
That's true. I
did not know that. Yeah. And that's actually I've loved our talk, but that's my favourite part of this chat. That's blown my mind. Do you know the amount of people I'm going to tell about that today?
Just a funny story with the E. Model E is occupied by Jaguar.
By Jaguar, of course it is. Yeah?
And that's why they just turned it around and made a 3 out of it.
Of all the amazing things you've done and you've said, that tops it for me. Awesome. So actually, do you know, it's also quite a challenging question, but knowing what you know now and being on the journey that you've come on, if someone sent you right back to the beginning, is there anything that in hindsight you would do differently?
Let's say I would choose my partners more carefully. Partners and friends, because it's a business where many people think it's quick money, and this is what makes me sad, honestly. But in the end, technology-wise, no, we made a lot of mistakes. Of course, with the knowledge that I have now, we could avoid a lot of mistakes and a lot of money that we paid for nothing because now we know how to do it the correct way. Of course, this to a certain extent helps our competition because they can learn from us, which makes it easier for them. But in the end, they will always be 2, 3, 4 years behind us technology-wise, because what they can copy from us is the technology that we install today in the boats is what we developed 3 or 4 years ago. And what we develop right now, will be available in 2 or 3 years.
They're always going to be one step behind, really.
Exactly. So I do not think that I would make anything differently. I think we only would be quicker. We would be much quicker. Yeah. We would have 3 or 5 times more boats already in the water. And this is the only thing that would change. But in the end, I think the result would be exactly the same because I think the development was necessary. The change of mindset of the people was also necessary. There was no other way. Sometimes is needed because you're not changing the mindset of the people from 1 second to the other. No. It needs time. And I think it's the right time now. I remember 12, 13, 15 years ago when we started, how many times I heard, Michael, you're a kind guy. I really like you. I like your ideas. It's a gorgeous project, what you're starting with your little money and your savings. Actually, you won't believe with how little money we started. Yeah. And I will supply you. I will support you. I give you some, I don't know, whatever materials for free, because a lot of people supplied us and we are very, very grateful for that. But everybody told us, nobody needs it. Believe me. It's nice. Do it for yourself. It's a nice project. And we think it's a gorgeous idea. We wish you all the best.
But do you know what? I completely understand this, because when you do something new, and it doesn't matter whether it's building boats or, creating a marine industry brand like the Boatbuilding use, when it's new and different, there are a lot of people saying, you don't need that. I don't understand that. But deep down, when you know you've got an idea and you know that you've got a product or a theory and you really believe in it, there is just nothing more powerful, is there? When you believe that your end goal is where you're going to end up, no matter how long it takes, that belief just comes above whatever anyone says. You never believe anything else, will you?
And the difference between the successful believers and the less successful is simply that the successful ones got up one more time often than the others that fell down, because everybody 100%. We fell down many, many, many times, but we again and again stood up and continued.
Yeah, and that is so true. And that's not just in business, that's in everything. I mean, if you look at, the top sports people, have they always been the best, or have they just, like you said, got up one more time more than their competition?
Yeah. And I think this is the reason why we are where we are right now. And I think this is, it was simply needed to develop in that way. I think there is no shortcut to success. No. Not really.
There really isn't.
Not, especially not in our case. And we are very happy to be where we are and to be the in all humbleness. I still think that we are the leader of the market, because we produce for sure much more boats than all our competition together.
Yeah.
And because there is none, it's easy to say, and at least not to that extent, because there are some boats on the market that are available with an electric propulsion. There are some with solar panels mounted, some even with solar panels on the side of the hull, which does not really make sense, because the sun, when it's powerful, is above us and not on the side. But we build boats that are way more efficient and way more autonomous than any of our competitors that usually are only planning to build boats and only have renderings to show, but no real boats. Yeah. And this is, I think, the biggest difference. We have right now about 20 boats under construction, and we will finish this year still probably 5, 6, 7 more boats, and depending a little bit on the supply situation, honestly.
Yeah.
And next year we are going to deliver about 25 boats, and this is way ahead of any other boat producer that is producing or trying to produce electrically powered boats.
I mean, well, that sums you up and your business up perfectly, though, doesn't it? You're just one step ahead all the time, which is amazing. I mean, I've loved our conversation, but what I'd like to do is I'd like to finish with the one question that I ask every single guest. So, is there one quote that really means a lot to you, or that you strive to live by?
Um, actually, there is a famous poetry by
Okay.
Edgar Albert Guest, which I would like to tell the audience because I really live what this poet says.
Amazing. I've never heard it, so I can't wait.
Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be the one who wouldn't say so till he'd tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he wore it, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it.
Wow. There is nothing you could have said that could have summed this episode up better. I absolutely loved that. I've never heard it, so thanks for bringing it into my world, because I'm going to look it up and read it again later for sure. But it's been really, really great, Michael. Thank you so much for your time. I hope Monaco is amazing for you. And I really look forward to catching up soon. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, then it would be awesome if you could leave a rating or a review. Don't forget to subscribe so you can listen to us again. See you soon.